What's a fun fact that isn't fun at all? When a human body falls from a building, they don't go splat and pancake. They bounce. Vultures have interesting adaptations for digging into the decaying flesh of dead animals. One is their *baldheads*. It's like if you stuck your head in a plate of spaghetti and then tried to clean that out of your hair, it would be disgusting. But if you had a bald head, like vulture, you could just wipe it off. Antarctica smells like penguin poop. Antarctica is a desert. It is too cold for bacteria to live. Nothing there to clean up penguin droppings. If you are close enough to see penguins, you also smell them. That Washington Square Park in New York is essentially a graveyard, with an estimated 20,000 bodies buried below the surface. Many were yellow fever victims, wrapped in yellow sheets, and buried by the poorest residents. The foundation for the famous arch was dug. A number of these were exposed. You may be aware of the South Korean superstition known as fan death, which holds that using a fan for an extended period of time will result in your death. Its beginnings have a much darker past. Where coroner had to identify the cause of death after a suicide, they would report death by fan. This is done to avoid embarrassing the family and to safeguard their face. It subsequently developed into a superstition that Westerners find humorous. During World War II, Japan bombed China with fleas infected with the bubonic plague. The United States has misplaced or lost 6 nuclear weapons over the years. There have been 32 broken arrow incidents, which are unexpected incidents involving a nuclear weapon. Of those 32, 6 were lost and never found. Malaria is the #1 cause for human deaths of all time. Deaf schizophrenics don't hear voices, they see hands or lips as mental images that tell them what to do. Clowns make $30/h on average. Who is the real clown? Edit, I wasn't expecting this to blow up. In spite of the comments disbelieving that clowns can get work on weekdays, I may just get one for my Monday D&D group now. If you are an identical twin, it is possible that you and your siblings' identities were swapped and your parents never caught it. Wasps survive without a head for 12 hours. I found that out when a wasp ended up beheaded in my living room and still came at me for the kill. It was terrifying. There's a bird that feeds its younger offspring to the eldest. Your brain blocks you from feeling your organs moving around inside you. In some regions of Australia, 90% of koalas have chlamydia, which poses a threat to the species extinction unless a vaccine is created or widespread koala culling takes place. Only 1 in 1,000 sea turtles born actually make it to adulthood. Crows are currently in their own stone age. They've been seen making very articulate tools. Edit, why is everyone misreading it as cows? During WWII, the Japanese military unleashed diseases on Chinese villages. They also dumped these pathogens into the waterway. When these people sought help for their illness, the Japanese would proceed to vivisect them to examine the internal effects of the disease. Butterflies, if necessary, will happily drink blood. Speaking from personal experience here, but your body can randomly decide to become allergic to damn near everything edible at any time. Not very fun. The oldest person alive was born with an entirely different set of humans on the planet. You can get a small injury and think you're fine, get septic and die all within a day. A teratoma is a kind of tumor that can grow hair, teeth, or even eyes. Alzheimer's disease can cause you to pass away, since your brain will no longer be able to chew, swallow, breathe, etc. The person who had the first facial transplant had her face chewed up by her Labrador dog while asleep due to sleeping pill overdose. Mad cow disease, prions, take 30 years or so to manifest symptoms. So we're due for the outbreak. Started in the 90s, where farmers fed mad cow brains to other cows and then sold them to us. Maybe I'm wrong, but sponge brain epidemic is scary. Fun fact, the giant tortoise was so delicious, it caused not only itself to be hunted to extinction, but also the dodo. Giant tortoise meat was supposedly better tasting than chicken. Its fat tasted better spread on bread than butter. Also, it was the perfect food for sailors at the time, as their bladders stored 1 liter of purified water, and they could survive without food in hibernation for almost a whole year in the hull of a ship. Not to mention, because they evolved without humans, they were easy to hunt. You could tie one to your back, and run another to the ship and they would just let you. It was so delicious, they went unrecorded for a long time, because expeditions to bring living samples of wildlife to Europe kept eating them on the way. Conversely, the dodo, while as easily captured by sailors, tasted awful. It was completely unpalatable. However, one day, someone discovered if you cooked dodo meat in the more delicious tortoise fat, it tasted just like chicken. So now, sailors were hunting a few tortoises at a time for their fat and water, storing them, and then hunting dodos on the daily. Overhunting, plus the introduction of rats to the environment, because sailors, which would eat eggs, let go the population to decline at a rate they could not breed to keep up, leading to both animals going extinct. When you're burning, the first thing that starts to melt is your eyes. Vending machines kill more people than sharks do. Because he was having an affair, Dr. Seuss' wife committed suicide. That Sam missed 96% of contraband during an inspection in 2015. When a whale dies, lots of gases build up in their body, causing very high pressure, eventually to the point after many weeks where the whale will blow up due to the high sea. Body debris are flowing in the ocean. When you think of a blobfish, you probably think of the pink goopy boy, right? Actually, you're thinking of a dead blobfish. Because if they are extracted from their perfect habitat underwater, which is very deep, the lack of pressure causes their body to pop like a balloon. The goop coming out of their mouths is basically their melted organs. You're thinking of a corpse. Memes are showing pictures of corpses. Posted this in another thread, so here goes. Guests love to dump the ashes of their loved ones on the Haunted Mansion ride at Disneyland. In theory this seems fine, and like an okay place to do that, but when the ashes get dumped, custodial cast members come in and vacuum up the ashes. If you are ever tasked with spreading ashes somewhere, do it anywhere but Disneyland. Because their ashes will not be in the park for long. Thanks to pregnant women, the average skeleton count per person is higher than 1. When North Koreans defect to the South, one of the biggest struggles reported by them is often how many English words there are in South Korea, like coffee being /ko-pi, that they just do not recognize. That's because South Korea takes a lot of linguistic influence from English-speaking countries, namely the US, while North Korea creates new words based off Russian/pre-existing Korean words. Not overly depressing but you can never really count a fact about North Korea as "fun." Penguins throw each other in the water to check for sea lions. The porn industry has the biggest economic influence of any industry and adversely affects laws and media that have nothing to do with porn. It's a bigger economic powerhouse than Netflix, Hollywood, the NBA, the NFL and Viacom. Despite how frequently people use porn, Pornhub alone claims it racked up 28.5 billion views last year. Its economic power remains hidden among the masses. Unlike other forms of entertainment, whose news regularly gets splashed across the front page of consumer publications, rumblings within the adult entertainment industry are typically only followed by niche trade audiences. Due to the taboo shrouding sexual content, a porn company can make hundreds of millions of dollars through monopolistic practices, while remaining unknown to most consumers. Many companies that seemingly have nothing to do with sex also indirectly profit off porn. As Frontline laid bare, phone carriers like AT&T, satellite TV providers like DirecTV, and hotel chains like Marriott have earned millions by piping in porn to their customers. It's the crazy aunt in the attic, an AT&T official told the New York Times. Everyone knows she's there, but you can't say anything about it. Meanwhile, people now surf for porn from the comfort of their basements thanks to technologies that the industry helped popularize. The internet gave people a way to privatize their unmentionable habits, and this dynamic pushed porn firms to become early adopters of many tech features, such as digital credit card transactions, instant messaging, and video streaming. Current emerging technologies like VR are getting boosts from porn too. The porn industry's adaptability also transfers to how they do business. Similar to the music industry's woes, piracy cut into porn's profits. Porn companies adapted by designing new business models around licensing, educational courses, camming, crowdsourcing, event hosting, and commerce. Porn also has its own trade publications, industry events, talent agents, and lobbyists. Cities that don't play by porn's rules risk losing lucrative its tax revenue. Due to concerns that HIV was being transmitted on porn sets, Los Angeles County stipulated in 2012 that porn actors wear condoms when filming. The county subsequently saw a 95% drop in porn permit requests over the next 4 years. Meanwhile, the number of total film productions in Las Vegas, where condoms were not required, jumped 50% from 2012 to 2013. Several observers attributed this to the condom law nudging porn production companies to leave LA for Vegas. Seemingly unperturbed, in 2016 California lawmakers proposed a ballot measure requiring porn performers throughout the state to use condoms on set. California's Secretary of State and its nonpartisan Legislative Analyst's Office each warned that, if this became law, it would reduce state and local tax revenues by millions of dollars per year. Not coincidentally, the regulation never came to be. Porn is therefore an economic contender in the US economy, just as much as any other entertainment property. The amount of cash it makes, the companies who indirectly make money from it, its experimentation with new business models, and its ability to influence lawmakers attest to the industry's economic strength. Sloths sometimes mistake their arms for tree branches and fall to their deaths, ha ha ha. Mark my words, this will end up on a TikTok with Subway Surfers Gamma play in the background. Otters look cute, but are pretty vicious animals that like to rape others and often threaten their own family if food is scarce. When a man dies by violence in the US, it is 5% likely that the crime was committed by their current/former intimate partner. When a woman dies by violence in the US, it is 50% likely that the crime was committed by their current/former intimate partner. 50% of Americans diagnosed with cancer will lose their life savings. The color of man's lips is very close to the color of the head of their penis. You are now cursed with this information. Homicide is the leading cause of death of pregnant women, usually by men they knew. A gamma ray burst could kill everyone on Earth within a few seconds, and because it's just a beam of light coming from space, nobody would find out until we would be cooked. When you're 4 months pregnant, the baby starts to pee inside you. In the books, Stuart Little was never explicitly called a mouse. He's pretty much described as a deformed mouse-esque person born from human parents. Money can't buy happiness. A phrase taught that you don't need money to be happy. Conveniently though, those on $50k plus salaries tend to live longer than those on the breadline. On Everybody Loves Raymond there were 3 sets of elderly parents: Frank and Mary, Ray's parents, Lois and Warren, Deb's parents, and Hank and Pat, Amy's parents. In real life, all dead. There is a company that turns dead bodies into an ocean reef. For those who romanticize a burial at sea, the company Eternal Reefs offers an innovative solution. It mixes the cremated remains of a person with concrete to create a pearl onto which loved ones can etch personal messages, handprints, or environmentally friendly mementos. The pearl is then encased in a reef ball that is dropped into the sea, where it provides a new habitat for fish and other sea life, helping encourage a vibrant ecosystem. The circle of life at work. The average life expectancy in Cambodia under Pol Pot's regime was 17 years old. The planet Neptune's atmosphere is mostly made of methane, and its surface is riddled with lakes of ammonia. So, in other words, The planet Neptune smells like farts and cat piss. Fun fact, the human bite is as dangerous as an animal bite. Even a man had an amputation on his arm due to a human bite. Groups of male dolphins will often kidnap and rape female dolphins from other parts. Male dolphins are also known to kill the babies of females in order to get more attention. A little research will show you that dolphins have almost no empathy and are very vile creatures. The garden at the base of the Eiffel Tower, where people often share romantic moments and have picnics, is the site of a historic massacre that occurred during the French Revolution. If you hurt or kill a baby elephant, the mother will seek revenge. Sometimes twice. Before modern abortion was legal and widely available, neonaticide was common. Few people talk about it, but there's tons of scholarship about it. If you have met 10 female hunter-gatherers, you have met a woman who has killed her baby. Ancient people left lots of written documents about it. Infanticide is a crime only committed by mothers, because if anyone else does it, it would be murder, a more serious crime. Ladybugs are cannibals. Your phone is dirtier than a public bathroom toilet seat. Humans should. Snakes kill either by hugs or kisses. Thanks to my 10-year-old daughter for that one. Rabies is the only virus is 100% death rate. As soon as symptoms show up, you're dead. NSFW. A whale's penis can be between 8 and 10 feet long. They can produce around 40 gallons of sperm, and it has the consistency of cottage cheese. And only about 10% of that actually enters the female whale. The rest is in the ocean, and it's possible you could swim right through a cloud of it. Don't let your kids watch nature shows if you aren't ready for them to learn some truly horrible facts. Figs are full of dead wasps. When you eat pineapple, it's also eating you. They contain an enzyme that digests the type of protein found on our tongues, which is why you get that fuzzy feeling, or some people's tongues bleed while consuming pineapple. Very odd version of 6991 could say. If a massive meteor were to make its way to Earth, astrophysicists will be able to detect it, however, can't do anything to deflect it. Just have to sit and wait for your demise. We lost a hydrogen bomb. Zombie snails exists. 24% of people diagnosed with ADHD will be homeless by the age of 41. The rate of the control group was 4%. The suicide rate of people with ADHD is 5x higher than the general population. Fun fact, it is estimated that 99% of Americans, possibly the world, have a toxic chemical, PFOA, in their blood. Not so fun part, this chemical is responsible for a long list of cancers and ailments. We have DuPont Chemical Company to thank. Skunks are immune from the venom of snakes and hunt, and eat the danger noodles on the regular. Super awesome fun, maybe not so much for the slithering friends. When you are about to vomit, your mouth produces saliva, so that acidic liquid can't burn your mouth. Birds are theropods, meaning they are taxonomically classified as living dinosaurs. They're in the same group as stuff like raptors and T-Rexes. This is actually a cool fact and something that has probably changed since you went through school. The fun fact about that is there are two kinds of dinosaurs, bird-hipped and lizard-hipped. And theropods are lizard-hipped. So birds have lizard hips, not bird hips. A couple people pointed out that theropod dinosaurs did have lizard hips, and birds are descended from them, but birds independently evolved to have bad hips. Which makes this even more confusing. So to recap, birds do have bad hips. But they evolved from lizard-hip dinosaurs, and not bird-hip dinosaurs. You and your friends hung out for the last time and no one knew. If you twist your testicle, very easy to do, you almost always need medical intervention to untwist it. It can lead to very dangerous conditions resulting in the loss of your testicle. One wrong move, or angry girlfriend away from a medical emergency,